Can you explain the thinking behind I'm not sure I've ever seen a practice squad guy go on IR. You usually just play one practice guy short. So what was the reasoning behind putting Cole on IR?
Yeah, he wasn't ready to go, so brought another receiver in. So see what happens down the road.
Did he do something extra yesterday to it, or?
No, it just wasn't ready. So brought in Cam Sims, another set of legs. So when Cole's ready to come back, we'll see how it goes.
Obviously, with the Cowboys, with Dak Prescott and the interceptions last year was a big thing with him. It's a big topic in the whole offseason here with him. What do you make of it when you went and looked at it?
Yeah, Dak's a productive quarterback. He's got a very good skill set. He's won a lot of games. He's been very productive, scored a lot of points. They got a good football team, so we're going to need a really good week here of preparation.
Do you look at that as an opportunity for you now more so than maybe? I know it wasn't something he has a track record of in the past. The interceptions I'm talking about specifically. Do you look at it as like?
Yeah, he's a heck of a quarterback. Yeah, no, he's a heck of a quarterback. Scored a lot of points for them multiple years, so we'll gotta have a good week of practice.
I know you take things day by day and every game one at a time. Can you explain the importance of divisional games and just competing within your division?
Yeah, I'd say we got 17 games. We're locked on this one. That's how we always are. Got to put everything we have into this week of preparation, practice, how we are in the meeting room, walkthroughs, to get ready to play our best game on Sunday.
Does Mike McCarthy's history as a play caller in Green Bay have any bearing to what he will do as a play caller in Dallas?
Yeah, I think, it's the first game, and even the first part of the season, there's a lot of unknowns. Got a lot of respect for Coach McCarthy. I mean, he was a coordinator back in 2000, I think, 49 or so. He's been doing this a long time, has a good track record, been very successful. What he's choosing to call or how he's calling it, we won't know that until Sunday.
You guys didn't have a sack against them in either game last year. Do they do something scheme-wise? Did you get rid of the ball quick?
Yeah. No, well, I think they really did a good job of controlling the game. They were, playing on early downs. There wasn't a ton of third downs, particularly in that second half. They ran the ball well. They did a good job protecting. They got a good offensive line. They played good football on offense in terms of, taking care of the quarterback, controlling the line of scrimmage, and then making timely plays down the field.
Do you become, because both of those games were close one-score games, is it encouraging that, in that specific department you were out pressured a lot quarterback-wise, that you were still close? Does that make you say, hey, if we can even that thing out a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think what happened last year or any other game really has any bearing on this game. You take a look at it, you look at the players they still have, you look at their schemes. Obviously, they have the same defensive coordinator, but again, it's a new season. There'll be a bunch of new stuff that we'll have to adjust to, and we got to focus on ourselves and make sure we're ready to go.
What do you make of Micah Parsons?
I think I said it last year. He's a dynamic player. He's those defensive ends that can rush the passer and get a lot of production on the quarterback. They're like skill players. So he's an explosive, dynamic playmaker. They line him up in a variety of spots. He's productive. He's hard to block. He's a really good football player. One of the best in the National Football League.
He overshadows somewhat DeMarcus Lawrence, who for a long time has been a thorn in the Giants, long before you got here, and then even last year, a thorn in the Giants' side. What is it about Lawrence?
Same thing. He's a dynamic player too. Obviously, was very productive, particularly in that first game. But he's been a good player in this league for a long time. Knows how to play the position. Got a ton of respect for him and how he goes about his business. And again, a dynamic edge player. And they have a few of them.
How did so obviously you mentioned that first game, Evan Neal was the one who had the rough game. What did you see from Evan Neal this preseason as he goes into a big year too?
Yeah, I think we've talked about that. I think he's improved. Now we'll go out there and play against a really good defensive front, and he's going to have to trust his techniques and fundamentals and communicate with the offensive line. But he's done a good job really the whole offseason.
Dave, because of the unknowns that you mentioned going into week one, is your game planning or preparation, do you almost have to be more of a wide scope going into the week, knowing that you might have to bring in some things that you weren't anticipating?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in the early parts of the year for games is making sure that you're really focused on the things that you can control, which is your execution of the plays, whether it's an offensive play or the defensive looks we get out here and really focus in on your fundamentals, your techniques, your communication, all the things that help you play well. That's even put more of a premium on the early part of the season because, again, you usually have a log of a few games here in the beginning part of the year after, call it October, but we're going to have to do a good job of executing our stuff against a really good team.
You have anybody not practicing?
Yeah, well, we'll get into that tomorrow, the injury report.
Anything else?
Is there anything you're changing this year, like in the game week lead up, that you learned from last season?
For this particular week, it's pretty similar. Yeah, it's pretty similar. Reps are pretty similar. Scheduling's pretty similar. We kept it. Again, talking with the sports science people and the trainers, we kept it pretty similar to what we had going into week 1 last year.
Are you thinking, you mentioned this week specifically, are you thinking anything changing for next week, or is it just kind of see how this week goes?
Let's get through this. We get through today here.
Brian, what were you, going into camp, what were you looking for or hoping to see in Saquon? And then what did you see from him?
Again, I was with Saquon for a year. I know, his mindset, how he practices, how he prepares. So he had a good camp. He's ready to go.
Dave.
Yep.
Dave, talk about going against a Dan Quinn coach defense.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time. I've known Dan for a long time. We worked together back in 07, I think it was, 07, 08. He's had a really good track record. We've as a play caller, I was a position coach. We competed against him in some games there towards the end of the year, and he's got high energy. I think the players really respect him. He's got a good reputation in the league. He's smart. His defense flies around. They have a specific way they like to play. They create turnovers. They get off to fast starts. He's a heck of a coach.
Now, one of the biggest traits of Quinn's defense, Dave, the speed. They're always fast.
Yeah, no, they're fast. Yeah, I mean, whether it was at Seattle when he was there, or at Atlanta, or he was down in college sometime. But those guys play fast. They execute well. They're tough to block up front. Create a lot of turnovers. He's a heck of a coach.
Is Cam Sims' ability to play gunner on the punt attractive to you guys?
Yeah, he had a good work. We had some guys in working out like we always do. Had a good workout, but yeah, he definitely, he's had some production in the league. I'd say both at receiver and as a gunner too. So, he's a big body guy. I had him at Alabama back in 17, but really haven't spoke to him really until yesterday, I think, since he's left. But he had a good workout.
Brian, do you need Daniel to kind of pick up where he left off at the end of last season here?
I don't think you can pick up Tom where he left off. I think it's a new season, and we're going to have to do the things we need to do leading up to this week. He's had a good training camp, and now we got to turn the page and get here on Dallas, which we've been the last couple of days, and go out there and practice and make sure we correct the things that are going to happen, and ultimately play well and make good decisions and move the ball down, and that's his role. But he's had a good camp.
Do you ever worry about guys at any position who got a big contract in the offseason, then coming out and trying to do too much, trying to live up to it, wearing on them?
No.
What do you think of the idea that Saquon is really out with a point to prove, right? He's out to prove, his worth, and that, you're going to.
I just think Saquon's a competitor. So, I saw him compete last year, and I know he'll compete this year.
What about
a couple more?
Stood out.
He just executed the offense well. Did his job. Competed, came in here prepared, studied, worked on things. If it wasn't great the one day, worked on the next day, had some good leadership about him. Again, really now it's all about Dallas and going out here and have a couple of good days of practice here.
How much better was camp because he made a decision that he made to come in and there are no distractions. It became about you getting your team ready.
Camp was camp. It was a good camp. Yeah, I said it before, but glad everybody was here, and I think we took steps each day.
Brian, do you have to adjust anything with the weather being a little bit more unseasonable the next couple of days?
No, we talked at length. I'd say before they left for break, and even when they got back for the hydration plan, whether it was a plane trip or we knew the weather was going to be a little bit more humid and hot this week. So Our nutritionist spoke to the team, our training staff spoke to the team. So, we got pros, and hopefully they, hydrated the right way, they, ate the right way, and we plan for this here the next couple of days.
Brian,
Last one.
Can a lopsided divisional series, can that play on players' heads a little bit, do you think?
I mean, I think we're focused on is this week and trying to get ready for a really good team.
So history has nothing to do, I know you look ahead, you're not looking at last year or anything, but some of these players have never or almost never beaten Dallas. Can that get in there somewhere?
Yeah, I think the only thing that we got to focus on is coming out here, practice, prepare, doing the things we need to do to get ready to go on Sunday.